The year was 3194. Earth had changed. No longer weak, no longer desperate, but still kind. When the Tsarist Empire sent a message asking for help, Earth responded without hesitation. Their planet was dying from a strange plague. Their children were starving. Their ships were falling apart. Earth, even after being mocked for centuries, still sent help. Medical ships, food freighters, engineers, doctors. Mercy. Captain Reyna stood on the bridge of the Solace Dawn, watching the Zarin world from orbit. The green clouds over the cities looked thick and sick. She turned to her crew. "Launch the aid pods," she ordered. "Full load." "Yes, Captain." Thousands of containers dropped from orbit, each filled with medicine, water, food, and power. Units. Earth's best tech. The kind that could revive a dead city in hours. The message from Earth was simple. "We remember paying. We don't want others to feel it." The galaxy saw this and laughed. The Cordons, the Fifth, the noble houses of the Council, many of them made jokes on the intergalactic net. The humans are feeding their enemies now. Earth still thinks kindness is strength. Let them give aid. We'll take their worlds later. Back on Earth, people watched these comments but said nothing. The leaders didn't respond. The soldiers stayed quiet. But deep down, something had changed. 6 months later, the Zarin healed. Their world began to breathe again. Their ships worked again. Their armies moved again. And then they attacked. The human colony on Ventari, the fourth, was peaceful. A farming outpost. Children played in the meadows. Old scientists studied plants. No weapons. No shields. At exactly 0200 hours, Zarin warships arrived. No warning. No negotiation. They bombed the colony from orbit. They sent troops to kill survivors. They laughed while doing it. Captain Reyna saw the footage 2 days later. It came from a broken distress beacon. A child's scream. Then static. She stood in silence for 5 long minutes. The crew around her didn't move. Then she said only one word. "No more." On Earth, news of the massacre spread fast. The headlines sighed. "Mercy repaid with blood. The price of kindness." The president of Earth made a short speech. No anger, no threats, just 5 words. Earth will no longer forgive. The Galactic Council held a meeting. Many hoped Earth would stay. Silent, weak, soft. But Earth's embassies closed. All Terran ships disappeared from normal space lanes. Something was coming. And the galaxy felt it. Back on the Solace Dawn, Captain Rhino walked into a sealed chamber deep inside the ship. She placed her hand on a black panel. It scanned her DNA. "Authorization accepted," said a cold AI voice. A large door opened. Inside was a map of the galaxy and a fleet of ships hidden for years. Silent, black as the void, she whispered to herself, "You spat on our gift. You thought mercy was weakness. You forgot what humans become when their kindness is betrayed." Hook. The galaxy waited for Earth to cry. But Earth didn't cry. It disappeared. For the first time in 100 years, Earth went silent. No trade, no messages, no diplomats, nothing. The Galactic Council grew uneasy. Earth's embassies were closed. Overnight, their stargates shut down. Their colonies went dark. Many thought it was fear, that Earth had broken under the Tsar attack. But they were wrong. Earth wasn't scared. Earth was preparing. In a hidden base near Saturn's rings, deep below the ice of Enceladus, an emergency council was held. Only a few people were allowed. Inside, Captain Reyna sat across from Admiral Solon and Director Malik of Intelligence. She placed the footage of the Ventari IV massacre on the table. Nobody spoke as the images played again. Children, farmers, scientists, all gone. Solon clenched his jaw. We gave them hope. Reyna nodded. They gave us graves. Director Malik leaned forward. The time for kindness is over. Project. Ember Phase 1 is active, ready to move. Reyna's eyes narrowed. Is the fleet ready? More than ready, Malik said. They don't even know what's coming. Elsewhere in the galaxy, rumors began to spread. A mining crew near. The Threx boarder saw something in the void-silent black ships with no ID signals. Faster than light, almost invisible. One blink, and they were gone. Pirates near the Fralix Nebula vanished without a trace. A cordon battlecruiser went offline after sending a final message. They came from the dark, with no warning. Still, the Galactic Council didn't act. They called it superstition. They called it ghost stories. But the fear, it was growing. On Earth, something massive was moving under the oceans. Gigantic platforms lifted from beneath the Pacific. Waves crashed for miles. A single command echoed across military channels. Begin Operation Emberfall. Captain Reyna stood inside the command room of the Helios Edge, Earth's most advanced command ship, long hidden beneath Mars' surface. The crew stared at the screen. Dozens of black ships were now online, their weapons glowing like fire under starlight. Each ship had no name, no registry, no mercy, only one purpose. Justice. Rayna took a deep breath. We will not scream, she said softly. We will not threaten. We will simply answer. Back in the council chambers, a Zarn ambassador laughed. The humans are hiding. They have no power. A nervous fifth delegate replied, but what if they're not hiding? What if they're waiting? The ambassador scoffed. Let them wait. Far away, in the darkness between stars, Earth's fleet moved. No one saw them. No one heard them. But something ancient was awakening. The galaxy once feared Earth's rage, but it had forgotten the deadliest version of humanity, the one that stays silent until it's too late. Asterisk. Hook. The galaxy thought Earth had no teeth. Then the black ships moved and reality shook. They called it a myth. Project Black Ember. For 50 years, it was just a rumor. Whispers in council halls. A human ghost story told to scare alien. Commanders. No one believed it was real, but it was real. Inside a hollow asteroid near the red dwarf, star Eltros 9, 127 black warships began to wake. Their bodies were smooth and dark like shadows in space. Their cores were built from neutronium. Their minds were not human, but loyal only to Earth. Each ship had no crew, only purpose. Their orders were simple. Do not strike until mercy ends. Mercy had ended. Captain Reyna watched from the deck of Helios Edge as the fleet aligned. The AI voice spoke calmly. Black Ember Fleet, operational, awaiting release protocol. Admiral Solon stood beside her. Is the galaxy ready for this? He asked. Reyna didn't look away. No, she replied. But they asked for it. In the next hour, the first. Signal was sent. It wasn't a message. It was a shutdown code. Thousands of galactic satellites powered by Earth's old tech blinked and died. Communication channels across 12 sectors collapsed. Then the fleet moved, without sound, without warning, without being seen. Their first target was small Azarn listening post on Moon Theta-5. It monitored human comms. Spied on Earth's movement. It lasted 7 seconds. The station didn't even have time to call for help. One beam of condensed solar fire station gone. No trace, no debris, no mercy. The next attack came 1 hour later. A Zarn military factory on Glaxis Prime. It was building weapons. With stolen Terran tech. Boom. One flash in the sky, and half the moon vanished. The explosion was visible from 5-star systems. Still, no claim, no name. The galaxy whispered, it's them. Back in the Galactic Council, panic finally arrived. "We must call Earth to the table," shouted the Jorak representative. "They're not answering," said a trembling Cordon ambassador. "All Terran channels are silent." One young fifth officer spoke quietly. "They're not talking because they already spoke. We just didn't listen." Meanwhile, Earth's people didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate the destruction. They watched with quiet eyes. They remembered Ventari 4. They remembered the blood on the grass. And they knew this was only the beginning. Inside a private room on the Helios edge, Captain Reyna sat alone. She stared at an old photo. Children playing in a field of flowers. Ventari 4. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "This wasn't revenge. This is balance." She placed the photo down and pressed the final command. Release Ember to Phase 2. Somewhere in the void, a new weapon came online. One that no species had ever seen before. Something that would erase entire fleets in silence. Because Earth had stopped asking for peace. No, it was enforcing it. Asterisk hook. They laughed. They stole. They killed. But when Earth finally answered, no one was left to laugh. The Zarn capital was the jewel of their empire. Tall silver towers. Floating gardens. Their leaders lived in luxury while their soldiers invaded weaker worlds. Today, the skies above Zarn Prime were calm. Children played. Merchants sold crystals. The leaders sipped wine and discussed Earth like a joke. "Let them bark," one minister sighed. "They won't bite." At exactly 12 o'clock Standard Galactic Time, the sky turned black above the planet. Something massive dropped out of FTL space. Not one ship, not a fleet, but one giant black triangle miles wide, silent, smooth, deadly dot. It had no windows, no flags, no sound. It simply hovered. And then it vanished. For 3 full seconds, the capital sky was normal again. And then the entire central continent exploded. Buildings melted. Mountains split. Cities disappeared in seconds. There was no alarm, no defense. Nothing left to save. The Zarn High Command gone. Their Senate gone. Their war generals dust in the wind. All it took was one shot from one Terran ship, Galactic. News tried to report it, but satellites were still down. No camera survived, only echo reports, radiation signatures, empty signals. The council gathered in panic. They didn't declare war. One screamed. "They didn't need to," said another. That was the war. Elsewhere, the Helios edge moved slowly past the destruction. Captain Reyna watched from orbit. Her crew was silent. No cheers. No smiles. She turned to her XO. "Send this message to the stars. Earth remembers everything. Your laughter. Your betrayal. This is not revenge. This is correction." Across the galaxy, species that once mocked Earth went quiet. The Cordons erased old jokes from their databases. The Thrini Empire canceled military drills near Terran space. The Fifth quietly sent the Gift 7 freighters full of raw minerals. But Earth didn't respond. 2 days later, another attack. This time, not a planet, but a Council fleet shipyard located in neutral space. Protected by treaties. Watched by over 300 defense drones. It vanished in 11 seconds. Observers only saw shadows. Then white fire. Then nothing. Council. Panic turned into fear. A top Thalox official screamed during an emergency meeting. "Earth is unrecognizable. This is not the kind species we knew." A Terran diplomat sitting silently in the room finally stood. He said calmly, "You never knew us. You only saw our mercy. And now you see our memory." He left the chamber. Back at Earth, civilians weren't celebrating. There were no fireworks, only quiet. People placed flowers for Ventari 4. Children lit candles. Families stood by silent walls, watching star maps. One small girl whispered, "Did the bad ones learn their lesson?" Her mother hugged her tightly. "They're starting to." Meanwhile, deep in a hidden Terran vault, new weapons were being activated. Phase 3 was coming, and it had one goal: make them beg. Asterisk hook. They laughed at Earth's tears. Now they kneel at Earth's gates, begging to be spared. The Zarn Empire was broken. What once ruled dozens of star systems now had no leaders, no fleet, no hope. Refugees floated in damaged escape pods. Stations sent distress signals to anyone who would listen, but only one name came on every request: to Earth. "Please, we surrender." Captain Reyna sat in the war room of Helios Edge. The screen showed hundreds of incoming messages, each one from a different world. Each one from a different species. "We made a mistake. Please forgive us. Spare our children." Her crew waited, but Reyna said nothing. She stared at one message from a Zarn civilian transport. A little boy with green skin looked into the camera and cried, "We didn't hurt anyone. Please, don't hurt us." The door opened. Admiral Solon entered. "Council wants to meet, privately. No records." Reyna turned away from the screen. Now they remember diplomacy? They say it's urgent. They're afraid. She smiled coldly. They should be. On a secret neutral moon, the emergency council meeting began. All the major species were there. Cordons, Fifth, Jorok, Zarn survivors. And standing alone, on Earth's behalf, was Ambassador Lena Crosscomb, tall, dressed in black. The room fell silent when she spoke. "You laughed at our mercy. You destroyed our colonies. And when we answered, you asked why." She paused, then continued, "Now you beg, but we're not angry. We're awake, and the galaxy will never sleep again." The fifth leader stood up quickly. "We offer tribute, our minds, our ships. Please just stop." The Zarn representative, bandaged and shaking, fell to his knees. "We were wrong. We were proud. Please, let us rebuild." Ambassador Lena looked at them for a long moment, then simply said, "You will rebuild, under our eyes, and never again will you touch Earth or anyone who calls us friend." Back on Earth, the people were watching. The broadcasts were not censored. Everyone saw the council on its knees, the broken voices, the silence of Earth's response. Children pointed and asked, "Why are the aliens crying now?" Their parents replied, "Because they finally listened." Inside the Ember Command AI Core, Project Phase 3 was paused, but not deleted. The AI spoke. "Orders, Captain?" Reyna stood still for a long moment, then spoke clearly. "We stop, but we don't forget. Anyone raises a weapon again, we finish what we started." The Black Fleet remained above the stars, silent, watching, waiting. Peace had returned, but this time it was Earth's peace, and it would not be broken again. Asterisk hook. The galaxy wanted Earth silent. Now Earth speaks, and its voice shakes stars. Peace had returned, but it wasn't the same peace the galaxy once knew. It was a peace wrapped in silence, in fear, in respect. The Galactic Council sat quietly now. Meetings were short. Words were careful. Every species had sent gifts, apologies, and promises. But still, above them, in the deep sky, Earth's Black Fleet remained, watching, waiting, remembering. In Sector 43, the Valdric Empire tried to test Earth's limits. They believed the Terran wrath was over. So they attacked a small neutral world, one protected under Earth's new Unity Pact. Within 9 minutes, 3 Ember-class ships arrived. No messages, no warning, no second chances. Valdric. Fleets gone, command base vaporized, empire on its knees in one night. The message from Earth was only 5 words. This is your only lesson. Captain Reyna stood at Earth's new galactic headquarters, Sol Station Prime, built in orbit above Jupiter. The walls were black steel. The floors were star maps. The air felt heavier. She looked at the screen showing council sectors. Her voice echoed softly. No more games. No more greed. No more pretending Earth is slow. Behind her, young commanders nodded. They were children. Of mercy, raised by war, trained by loss. They didn't smile. They didn't laugh. They enforced. On the planet Drixel, a crowd gathered. For the first time in history, a trial was being held led by Earth. 3 alien generals who had ordered the Ventari for massacre were brought in chains. One of them growled, "You have no right to judge us." The Terran judge simply replied, "You're wrong. We have the right because we remember." Within minutes, the sentence was passed. No prison, no delay. Just silence. The galaxy shivered. Earth was no longer one planet among many. It was the Reckoner. The one who watched, acted, and never forgot. Back on Earth, the skies were clear. Children played in parks again. Old veterans sat beside lakes and smiled. But the stars above them glowed differently. Now, not in fear, but in balance. In a private chamber, Admiral Solon sat with Captain Reyna. He asked, "Do you ever think we went too far?" Reyna replied without looking up, "No, we went just far enough for them to finally understand. We didn't want to be feared. We just didn't want to be forgotten." She stood and walked to the window. Stars stretched endlessly in front of her. Now, they won't forget. *Hook. The galaxy called it vengeance. But Earth remembered the truth. This was justice, long delayed. Years passed. The stars still burned. Ships still traveled. But something deep in the galaxy had changed. There was order. There was silence. There was respect. On a new world called Harmony 1, the Galactic Assembly stood tall. It was not ruled by the old empires. It was guided by Earth. Each species had a voice, a chair, a chance. But humanity now held the final vote. Captain Reyna, now High Marshal of Earth's Defense Command, walked through the long golden hall. Flags of over 100 species hung from the ceiling. But the largest flag was plain white. One symbol, a human hand open, not closed. It meant mercy. It meant warning. She stopped before a crowd of young alien cadets. Their eyes were wide. Their uniforms were clean. They had read about Earth in history files. They had heard the stories. But today, they would hear it from her. Reyna stepped forward and said, "You call it vengeance. But we only answered what you started. Not with hate. Not with rage. With memory." She looked at each of them. "You see peace now? That peace was bought with screams we never forgot." In the far reaches of the galaxy, a small museum opened. Ventari Memorial. It showed what was lost, what was given, what was taken, and what Earth became because of it. Aliens came. Children cried. Some wept. Some kneeled. On the bridge of Helios Edge, now orbiting Earth's twin colony New Terra, the ship AI spoke softly. No active threats. Peace index, 98%. Memory logs, intact. Captain Reyna, older now, grayer but still unshaken, sat with a child in her lap. Her niece. The girl asked, "Did we win?" Reyna smiled gently. "We didn't come to win. We came to remember, so no one ever forgets." And across the stars, those words echoed in silence. They called it vengeance, but we called it justice. Final scene. Above the galaxy, Earth's Black Fleet floats quiet, eternal, untouchable. Not as conquerors, not as monsters, but as the final reminder. Mercy is a gift. Break it can face the ones who remember everything. The End, HFY. Humanity, F asterisk asterisk, yeah, asterisk, congratulations. App key full 7-part HFY story complete Hogei High. Full titles. The Gift They Spat on the Silence. Before Retaliation Project Black Ember the First. Blow begging at the gates. The Reckoning they called it. Vengeance we called it Justice asterisk.